Hey guys, Griffin here, and today we're going to be talking about the difference between Goblin engineering and Gnomish engineering for Wrath of the Lich King. But before we get started, please take the time to like and subscribe. It really does help me out. Okay guys, so here we are. We are actually in Daenerys, and this is an important spot. I'll explain that in a second, but first let's talk about what got the two specializations of engineering are. So there's Goblin, that usually is involved in creating explosions, and there is Gnomish, which is usually involved in making gadgets. Now, when you think of Goblin, you usually think of Goblin Sapper Charges, and Gnomish is usually like the Gnomish Death Ray and like just gadgets. Now, in most TBC and Classic, choosing one or the other had very small, minor differences. Usually, even the Sapper Charges that the Goblins made, the other engineers could still use. However, in Wrath, that does change, so there is a factor in choosing one over the other. So there are two main differences. I'm going to put them up on the screen. Goblins can make the new sappers, and gnomes can make these X-ray specs. The X-ray specs are really cool. That you see people without clothes on. I guess that's nice, but I wouldn't invest in the spec for it. Whereas Goblin, these things are actually great, especially if you're PvE trying to do crazy damage, or even PvP trying to do crazy damage. So these are the two big changes. Now, both professions, specializations can use all the other things: the cloak, the helm enchant, the boot enchant. All those things both can make. However, only Goblins can use these Sapper Charges, and that is kind of the determining factor. Now, if you are Gnomish and you want to get ahead of this and get the Goblin stuff ready to go before Wrath actually comes out, because I'm making this in pre-patch, I'm going to actually walk you through how to do this. Now, I've been told it can all be done here, but I've actually went through this, and I'm going to explain just in case you can't. So, I am in Daenerys. Here's Gadget Stand here. I'm over here by Steam Weedle Port up in the northeast area, and there's actually a cabin. I'm gonna go outside so you can see what the cabin. Here's Steam Weedle Port over here, and I'm in this little hut off to the side. There's a guy in here you can talk to named Narian Soothfancy, but we don't care about him. We only care about this book sitting here. And this book is actually used for any profession specialization. So if you're like a leather worker that is tribal and you want to switch to elemental, you'd come here as well. However, in the past, when you switched your specialization, you actually had to start all over again with your profession. That's not the case. You maintain your specialization and you just you maintain your engineering or whatever the profession is, but you lose your specialization. So then you just have to switch your specialization and pick up the spells. So I actually just did this, but I'm going to kind of walk through how it's done. So you click on the book, it says I wish to unlearn, and if you have Gnomish, you would say Gnomish, or I have Goblin already, so I've already done this. You click on this, and it's going to ask you for 150 gold. You pay it, and you've removed your specialization. Now, in videos and other things, I've seen that you can then click on this book again and choose this specialization. However, when I did it, it did not allow me those choices. Instead, I had to go back to my faction and pick up the Goblin specialization. Now, that's interesting. If they don't change that and it stays that way, you do have to get some items in order to actually get your Goblin. It's some exploding items. Now, I went on the auction house and they were pretty much out of all three of these. So I actually went and crafted a bunch myself, and I crafted way more than I needed and then sold them for an exorbitant price, because I know a lot of people are going to try to switch to Goblin if they haven't already. So, or if you are leveling a DK or another class and you haven't picked the profession and you haven't picked the specialization yet, you have to go through this process as well, which means those items are going to be valuable. And if you want to make some quick gold, I recommend crafting them and throwing them up in the auction house. I think I pulled maybe 300 or 400 gold in a matter of 10 minutes. Okay, just a quick little tip there. So once you do get the items, you then come back to Gadget Zan and you turn in that quest. It then makes you a Goblin specialization, and you can pick up all the Goblin items except for, assuming you're max level, the new Zapper Charges that you don't get until you hit level, I think it's 400. I'll have it on the screen hopefully. But that's it. Then you're a Goblin and everything's gone. So it's 150 gold plus some items you'll have to craft or buy on the auction house. Shouldn't take more than 10 to 15 minutes. I will point out though, when you do switch, if you have the ultra safe transporter for Tashley Station and Gadget Zan and you switch to Goblin, these no longer will work for you. Instead, you'll get two different ones that you want to pick up. I believe it's Area 52 and Winter Spring? No. Yeah, Everlook Winter Spring. Sorry, I was thinking of the new PvP zone. But yeah, so you definitely want to do that. If you haven't already, do it in the pre-patch now so you don't have to worry about it later, especially because those sniper charges are going to be really great for PvE, PvP, and just leveling in general. So that's it, guys. That's all I want to talk about today. I hope this video was helpful and helped you prepare for Wrath. Thanks, and as always, take care.